Hi, I'm Mandy.
And I'm Justin.
Welcome to
Explore Some More. Today we're going to talk about internet solutions traveling full-time, especially for people who need to work full-time. We're going to talk about different routers you can purchase, battery backups for when the power goes out briefly, but you don't want to reset your internet. We're going to talk about cell phone plans, data plans, all kinds of stuff that you need to know in order to make working on the road work for you.
And anything we talk about today, we will have links down in the description below. So if you're curious, you can go and clickety-click through those and get yourself the same setup that we work with. I actually work full-time on the road. I work remotely for a company based in Chicago. It's a full-time job. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I have to be available and online. So it's pretty much like working from home, except your home is on the road. When we first decided to go on the road, my company was like, they were really supportive about us wanting to do this endeavor. They just had one prerequisite, which was you need to stay connected. Like, you need to be able to show up to meetings, you need to be able to do your work, you need to be online and available 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I said, I can do that. And then I asked Justin to make us do that. And that's where he was able to come in and use some of his past background to figure that out.
Sure. So I was a systems engineer for a managed service provider, which is a company that provides IT solutions for lots of different other companies. So my job was already focused around setting up internet solutions, and while I'd never set up internet solutions for somebody who needed to work on the road full time, it's a good background to have if that's the problem you want to tackle. That being said, you don't have to be a systems engineer to figure this out. It was certainly sped up the process for me, but it's not that complicated.
It sped up the process for me. I didn't have to do anything.
Because even for someone with my background, none of the companies I was doing work for were running their companies off of VERIZON or AT&T cell phone service or data plans.
Yeah, usually it's wired, you know, you've got the...
Yeah.
You know, technically you have the inner tubes coming into your building, right?
Yeah, it's a series of tubes.
But there are no tubes to the RV.
Right.
It's truth.
Right.
Anyway, we'll take you through, again, our hardware here real quick, and then talk a little bit more about how we figured out how to get the tubes to the RV.
So let's say you get to a new location and you only have 1 or 2 bars of internet service. Well, sometimes that's not good enough. Maybe you're doing video conferencing or remoting onto people's computers or whatever you need to do for your job that requires a better signal. So if you're doing this full time and you need reliable service, I highly recommend putting in an antenna on your trailer or RV. Ours mounts to the back ladder. We run it over the roof, and then we had to drill a hole toward the side here, which runs down into this box area where the microwave is. From there we've got a hole that comes out. This line runs up into the device, which is called a WeBoost Drive 4GX. It's about $500. It takes that 1 or 2 bars of service that you're getting it, and then it increases it to 3, 4, even 5 bars sometimes. From there, we've got another line coming from the WeBoost 4GX. It's moving right over here and down into this little internal antenna, which rebroadcasts the signal. Now you're going to want your hotspot device or your mobile router or whatever you're using to be pretty close to this little antenna. If you put it here and then you put your device on the other side of your travel trailer or RV, you might not be helping yourself much at all. This does not have a very high range. which is why you might be asking, where the heck is your hotspot or your mobile router? Well, it's under the couch. I'll be able to get a quick shot of it here with the camera, and then I'll just kind of talk about it. On the left, we've got the ASUS, which we just use as a hotspot rebroadcaster. We've got the mobile router, that's the Pepwave. And then we've got a visible phone, which we use as a backup hotspot, and a UPS all the way on the right there. That's an uninterruptible power supply. So I'll talk about each one now. We'll start with the mobile router. That's the Pepwave. There are a couple different models. I believe ours is called the MKBR2. It might be the BR1. Unlike your typical router where you just run a hard line into it, it has 2 slots on the back for SIM cards. Same kind of SIM cards that go in your cell phone. From the Pepwave, we run to the ASUS router. Now the ASUS router we're only using as a Wi-Fi booster because the Pepwave's Wi-Fi signal is pretty weak, and also in the past I've used a MacBook which for whatever reason did not like its Wi-Fi signal. I don't know why exactly. Instead of spending hours and hours trying to figure that out, I just boosted the signal with an old router we had. That's why we have the ASUS there. There are better solutions, cleaner solutions. I used that because I didn't want to buy anything else. It's what we had and it worked. And then we have the visible phone. You do get truly unlimited data from it, but they get to manage that however they like. Which means sometimes it's a little slower than you'd like, but typically it'll do the job. That's why it's our backup and not our main line. It's also good because we have the AT&T Unlimited as our primary line, and then we use that, which is on the Verizon network, as our secondary line if we really need it. Going over to the UPS, the uninterruptible power supply. If you've ever been in an RV or a trailer for long, you know it's not uncommon to, say, accidentally run the air conditioner and the microwave at the same time, which trips the power. In that case, the internet would go down. If you have a UPS, that's not the case. It'll keep those devices powered for 15-30 minutes, depending on your UPS, before they lose power as well. That gives you plenty of time to go flip the switch, get the power running again, and then you never have any downtime. So that pretty much wraps up the hardware.
When we headed out, we knew that, again, to ensure that I could always be online when I needed to for work, that we wouldn't need just one cellular service solution to keep us online, that we would have to have backups, and backups to your backups, and probably a backup to the backup to the backup, because things are going to go wrong when you're on the road, and we knew that. So we found a Verizon truly unlimited data plan that we could buy through a reseller online. There's a lot of places online that you can find that sell these grandfathered unlimited plans. They're generally pretty expensive. Like, you're going to pay a decent amount. We were paying about $180 a month for this one plan, but it was truly unlimited. It allowed us to stay connected for work. It allowed us to watch all the Netflix and Hulu that we desire. We were able to download to our heart's content.
We didn't really think about our data usage at all.
No, we didn't. And I mean, that was nice, but honestly, it it was probably not very smart. But we got comfortable with that Verizon plan. Now, we didn't just set out with that. We definitely used that as our main provider for the last 2 years. But we also had, like, before we even left on our travels, we both had Google Fi phones, which Google Fi runs off of actually 3 different cellular networks.
T-Mobile, Sprint, and US Cellular.
Correct.
I believe.
So the idea is that whatever tower is closest to you when you're on the Google Fi network, it'll pull from that particular tower. And it's generally been a great cell phone for us. It's affordable because we don't use a lot of data on our phones, and you pay purely for what you use data-wise.
And it's a great way to get access to 3 networks with one plan.
Exactly. Now that's not going, because we get charged for the data we use and it's like $10 per gig, it's not a viable solution for streaming, it's not a viable solution for work.
Right.
It's more of, if we're in an emergency situation and Verizon went out, could I use it as a hotspot to work for the day? And I can.
If you use 100 gigs at $10 a gig per month, you're spending $1,000 a month on internet. Now that's too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the backup. That was our first backup to the Verizon plan. The second backup is one that basically, if you're staying in RV parks, you usually have, which is RV park Wi-Fi. Now, given most parks don't have the best Wi-Fi, you might be able to get online, but you're certainly not going to be streaming or anything like that. Again, this would be more of a emergency situation. I still need to be able to connect to work, let them know what's going on. Maybe I can't do Zoom meetings, which I do need to do, but you know, for a day I can probably get by.
If you're going to an RV park out in somewhere in nature, like most people aren't going out there to work full time. So really, the service the RV park is providing is typically just so you can check your email.
Yeah, and get some phone service.
Yeah.
So don't expect great Wi-Fi, but again, this was our third backup. Everything else has gone to heck and back backup solution is coffee shops, which is pretty common among RVers. You need to know where there is a coffee shop that you can stop and get online if you need to. So everywhere we go, we always have like a coffee shop marked on the map where it's like, okay, if I need to in a pinch, I can run to that coffee shop and work for the day. When we came to Meadview, Arizona, which is where we are now, we knew we were going somewhere remote.
The closest coffee shop is basically, it's in Kingman, which is at least 45 minutes away.
Closer to an hour.
Yeah. So we knew it was an option if we absolutely needed it. The problem is that we know nobody saw a pandemic coming, and so
we got here before the stay-at-home orders came through.
Yeah, suddenly our worst-case scenario backup solution was no longer an option.
Yeah. So even though previously I wouldn't have wanted to drive an hour to a coffee shop, I would have for work, but now we couldn't. And then Verizon
went out. We'd been using it for 2 years. It's an unlimited plan for 2 years without a hitch. All of a sudden, in the middle of the day, middle of a work day,
it was a Thursday,
the service was gone. We contacted the reseller and they told us, no problem, we'll get it back up for you by tomorrow. The next day, it was not back up. I called them probably 10 times that day, leaving messages. No one was answering the phone. Finally, someone called me back and said, all right, something's wrong with all our Verizon plans, and so we are going to overnight you an AT&T card that you can use until we figure out what we're going to do with our Verizon plans. We never received that AT&T card. We, couldn't get a hold of anybody from the company after that. They stopped selling plans on their website. Customers were complaining on their Facebook page, so they deleted their Facebook page. Let this be a cautionary tale to you that if you go with a reseller who's selling old grandfathered plans, you're in a gray area. So it might work great for a year, 2 years, maybe 5 years, I don't know. But when it stops working, if it stops working, don't expect any customer service. Don't even expect the company to exist after they have problems. You could potentially go on eBay and have someone transfer one of these accounts into your name so that you are working directly with Verizon or AT&T with your account. But you're talking about paying upwards of $3,000 up front just for the transfer. And then you still have to pay monthly to Verizon or AT&T after that.
Either way you go, it's a very expensive solution. It worked for us for quite a while, and we're glad that we had it. But we've also, again, we've learned from our mistake there, which is that don't trust that that type of plan is going to be there tomorrow. Always have yourself prepared for something else, which when this all happened, Justin was able to go online and try to figure out some other solutions for us. So
I did 3 things at once.
Yeah, 3 things.
So even before we found out that they weren't actually going to send us an AT&T card, we were frustrated enough with the response of them not answering their phones all day.
We were worried that they were disappearing.
Yeah, that we went ahead and said, okay, even if they figure this out, we want to start figuring out other solutions.
Yeah.
So we went to another reseller and we ordered an AT&T unlimited plan, and we purchased a Visible phone.
Which, just to clarify, so Visible, it's actually a authorized company of Verizon's. It's kind of like Verizon's child baby company.
Sister company.
Something like that. Verizon actually has funded this company.
Yeah.
And it works off of the Verizon 4G LTE towers. Not off their 3G towers, by the way. Just their 4G LTE towers. And it can work as an unlimited hotspot. Mm-hmm. Which is what we want, what we need for our data plans. But you can't take the SIM card out of the phone that they have you order, so you have to use the phone as the hotspot. And the data that you use off of it, while it's unlimited, it is also...
it's capped at 5 megabits per second, throttled at 5 megabits per second.
So you're not going to get high speeds off of it.
And it's managed, so you always... actual Verizon companies always get priority over you.
Exactly.
So if you're at a tower, near a tower that's congested,
you're going to feel it first.
You're going to feel it before all the Verizon customers do.
But what's great about it is it's super affordable. It's what, $30, $40 a month?
Something
for one hotspot? I
think it depends on how many phones you have going at one time.
True.
But for one phone, I believe it's $40 a month.
And then you can use that phone. I've used it for my work. I've found that if I'm getting that anywhere between like 2 to 5 megabytes per second, megabytes?
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. If I'm getting those kind of speeds, I can function with work. I can do what I need to do for work. I can have my Zoom meetings. Is it as fast as the Verizon Unlimited plan was? No. But it's functional, and it means that we are actual customers of this Visible Verizon company, which we feel like is a much more reliable plan.
It's legitimate service.
Exactly.
It's not
I'm not worried that
under the radar eBay reseller.
Yeah.
The third thing we did is we ordered another Verizon Unlimited plan.
Correct.
We got that the next day. We turned it on and it worked great for one day, and then Verizon shut the account down. Mm-hmm. So clearly at that point we thought, okay,
can't trust
Verizon grandfathered unlimited plans.
Something's happening.
Either they know what router we're using and they don't like us, or they're just shutting down their grandfathered unlimited plans.
But luckily we had that AT&T unlimited plan that we ordered, and that's been working.
It's been working great.
The Visible phone now that we can use as a hotspot when we need to.
It works. You can only tether it to one device at a time. That's another thing.
And then our other solution to a possible problem is that Justin ordered a bunch of SIM cards.
Right.
So you want to show them?
Well, I mentioned earlier that we have a Google Fi data card in our router that we've never used, and that's $10 per gigabyte. So we use it only as a backup. So we would do AT&T first, then we'd go with Visible, and then after that we might do Google Fi. But I got another card just in case that SIM card stops working. I can pop another one in there. We also have 2 T-Mobile SIM cards that we just keep on hand. The reason for this being is if we need access to the T-Mobile network in a pinch, we can just call T-Mobile. We can pop the SIM card in our router and call T-Mobile and have them provision one of their data plans. Or we can contact a T-Mobile data reseller with a grandfathered unlimited plan, and a lot of them will just ask for the SIM card number. Then they can just provision it from where they are. You don't have to pay $120 for shipping overnight. You don't have to wait for it.
Yeah.
You're already ready to go. We also have some AT&T cards, and we have some Verizon cards coming in the mail. The only one we couldn't have a backup of is Visible for the phone, and that's because they'll only allow their customers to each account to have one SIM card at a time.
Yeah. So those are the solutions we've gone with now. It's been working for us for the last 2-ish weeks now, ever since we went through our Verizon outage.
It's cheaper.
Exactly. We mentioned before the Verizon plan was $180 a month by itself. We're paying less than that with all these other plans combined now, which is great. And I think we've learned our lesson. Even though we thought we knew it, we definitely know it now. Have at least 2 backups, viable backups if you're going to be working from home. And probably 3 or 4 if you really want to be safe. So that's what we have now. If something changes with like the visible, we find out it's not great somewhere, or it just hasn't, you know, it worked in Meadview but it doesn't work somewhere else, we'll let you know. We're going to be testing that out. We'll also be seeing how long this AT&T unlimited plan lasts for us. Again, these resellers can come and go day by day, so
we'll probably replace one of our 2 Google Fi phones with another visible phone, so that if we only have Verizon service, we can each have our own visible hotspot. Because like I said, you can only tether it to one device at a time. Clearly, 2 people here. If all we have is Verizon, we need 2 visible phones.
Yeah. And should Starlink become a thing?
Starlink is a new Elon Musk company. He claims that it will be going into private beta about 3 months from right now, and public beta in 6 months. It's a satellite internet solution for the entire world. He claims anywhere in the world you'll get 100 megabits per second, and the rumor is that it will be $80 a month. So, if this is legitimate, and we all kind of know Elon Musk's project, or what, maybe 70% success rate, something like that.
He's a dreamer.
He shoots for the moon. I appreciate that. He gets a little too excited sometimes too, and makes big promises.
But we are excited if this is the thing.
We hope it works. We hope to be part of the public beta, and if we are, we'll keep everyone updated on how that goes. Hopefully a year from now, we'll shoot another video and we say, internet solution for living on the road is Starlink. And it's that simple. Who knows?
Anyway, thanks for joining us today, guys. I hope some of this information helped you out and helps you make a decision about how you're going to set up your RV for remote work and travel. Good luck. We'll see you next time.
Bye.